Welcome to Transqat. I'm Clare McCarthy. Welcome to episode 32, the final installment of season 1 of Transqat. June, of course, is Pride Month, and my recording gear and I went to 3 Pride events this year: Middletown, West Hartford, and the inaugural Guilford Pride. I started out asking people what Pride meant to them, but folks seemed to feel a little constrained by that, so I just invited them to talk about whatever. Have a conversation with me in front of the microphones. And this, as it turns out, was the narrative arc of season 1. I started with the goal of discussing specific topics with knowledgeable guests, but pretty soon the show became a place for people to just come tell their stories. I think overall we had a pretty good balance of the topical and the personal. I'm taking August off to regroup and catch up on a few projects. I'll be back in September with more guests, more conversation, more Transqat. I hope you'll join me. Thanks to everyone who has encouraged and supported me over the last year. Thanks especially to my niece Sadie for her expert work on the podcast's outro. I know I say this at the end of every episode, but from my heart, thank you for listening.
Good morning. I am Jerry, and I'm a Guilford resident, and I am a mother of an adult trans child. Pride means to me a safe space for my child when my child left home, and the Pride community supported him. I at least had the security of knowing he was in a safe place.
How old is he?
He's now 28.
Diane Samazik.
Hey Diane, welcome to Transqat. What does Pride mean to you?
Basically respecting where everybody is in their lives. Who they love, just who they are, basically, in general. So I'm an ally. So, and I'm from the Unitarian, put a plug in for the Unitarian Universalist Church in Meriden.
Zach Martin.
Hey Zach, welcome. What does Pride mean to you?
I guess just letting people do what they want to do as long as they don't infringe upon the personal freedoms of others. I guess with a lot of this drag queen controversy over the years, connotating that with innately something sexual, even though drag is a full art form, kind of there's different sects of drag. There's drag where you actually look like a woman, and then there's drag where it's kind of, you're not supposed to look actually like a woman, it's supposed to be exaggerated.
Right,
the
caricature.
Type of RuPaul's drag.
Right.
It's just it shows an innate misunderstanding of the culture as a whole. So, not even mentioning the impact that drag has had on a lot of Disney properties. And
oh my goodness.
Marketed with children. Ursula is
Little
inspired
Mermaid,
by one of those famous drag queens.
Cruella de Vil.
In fact, the Little Mermaid was, a lot of trans organizations have latched onto the Little Mermaid as a symbol for theirs. I think even an organization in Britain uses that as their symbol.
Hi, my name is Danny. I'm 21 years old. And I am non-binary. I use they, them pronouns.
Tell me about the pronoun thing. Do you get a lot of pushback from that? Because a lot of opposition to queer people tend to focus on that, as if they're being asked to do something ridiculously difficult. Tell me about your experiences.
I get a lot of different reactions to the pronouns. I remember I was doing a group therapy thing, and we were doing a pronoun circle, and I was the only young trans person there, the only trans person there, period. And I had to explain how to use the pronouns to them.
Oh, wow.
Because they didn't understand how
Was it a room full of older people?
Yes, it was. They didn't understand.
Speaking as an older person, I would just...
I had to, once I explained that, this is how you use they, them pronouns in this way, they got it. And it's really interesting because not a lot of people are trying to be ignorant or anything.
Well, that's within a circle of supportive people. How do you find using they, the singular they, out in, say, the workplace or out in the world in general?
There's definitely some difficulty using they, them pronouns in the workplace. I worked in retail for like a year and a half.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit less, and only about 3 or 4 of my coworkers used the pronouns that I preferred, which was very frustrating because I had a pin on my apron that said what my pronouns were.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine sort of the same thing, that it's a lack of education on their part rather than an intent to be hurtful or,
Yeah. A lot of people, when they hear about non-binary or transgender people, it comes from just like a lack of understanding and like a lack of not wanting of like your worldview to be disrupted.
Right.
And I think the answer to that is education, really.
Well, speaking of which, here's an opportunity. I'm sure some of my listeners are not entirely sure what non-binary means.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think I do, but tell me what it means to you.
To me, non-binary is not being completely feminine or completely masculine, and it's not exactly sitting in between either. It's a little bit of all of it. You experience gender, for me at least, I experience gender at a very almost fluid base, but instead of using like gender fluid, I prefer non-binary because
So
I don't fit anywhere on the spectrum.
So your presentation changes. You're presenting very femme today.
Thank you.
Look lovely, by the way. But that might change in other circumstances.
Yeah, some days I might feel like I want to dress more masculine, or sometimes I want to feel like I just want to be super androgynous that day. Or my favorite is when people start to use one pronoun and then they switch to another one, and then they're like, I'm not really sure.
My name is Jeannie.
Welcome.
Thank you. When I was younger, it was funny. I would go to a gay pride when they first came out. Now I'm in my 50s, right? So I remember the first time I went to New York City gay pride, somebody was like, "What are you doing this week?" And I whispered that I was going to gay pride. How proud is that?
If you have to whisper.
The irony of it, right?
Yeah.
And I think about that all the time, is that I whispered it because we were so secretive back in the 70s and 80s. You couldn't come out loud and proud. So now it means an awful lot to me. I mean, to see the community like this now and the acceptance and seeing all walks of life, it's incredible.
Do it.
This is Keith Brown for Gay Spirit Radio, wishing everybody happy Weehaw Pride 2023. Listen for Gay Spirit Radio Thursday evenings from 8:30 to 9 p.m. on WWUH 91.3 FM. Listener supported alternative radio. Also listen for Gay Spirit's companion program, This Way Out, the International LGBT Radio Magazine, with Greg Gordon and Lucia Chappelle.
That's how a professional does it, my friends. Okay, so tell me who you are.
Rose Doreen. I think pride means joy and happiness and standing up for yourself and believing what you believe.
Do you do that? Do you stand up for what you believe?
Yes.
My name is Abby, and my pronouns are she, her. Pride wasn't a big thing when I was younger, but I think that we were all able to find our people in the 90s pretty easily. And for me now, pride continues to be a source of love and joy and strength for myself and now for my children as well. So
finding your people in the 90s was, of course, pre-internet.
Yeah.
For the most part, much
Right.
more of a challenge.
Right. So you definitely were the marginalized kids in school, and that was how we found each other.
Yeah.
And explored those things together,
So a real sense of analog community.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Right.
Hi, I'm Alex, a West Hartford resident. Here for just a year now. Moved here last summer with my wife and 2 kids.
And moved here from
Birmingham, Alabama.
Alabama, and I saw your shirt, Protect Alabama Trans Kids.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to just talk to you a little bit about that legislatively. What's going on in Alabama right now?
Well, I think much like a lot of the southern states, we continue to see direct attacks in terms of affirming healthcare and what's available to children. And I think when I wear this kind of shirt, for me, it's about staying cognizant in different parts of the country about the realities that trans and non-binary populations are facing in other, in more hostile areas.
Yeah, I agree, because Connecticut especially, I feel as if our rights are secure and our kids are safer. Not, you can't say safe, but
right.
Safer. But to see these domino states just kind of tumbling to this mistaken thinking, what does that mean for a kid in Alabama who identifies as trans or non-binary?
Yeah, well, and I was speaking from my kind of limited knowledge area, not working directly in there right now, so I don't want to overstep, and I may be kind of behind in some ways, but I think for me, what I witness a lot of is taking away family and guardian and parents and the adults that these children trust, the ability to just get quality information. And I think that's what really startles me, is when we start to cut off those conversations with medical care providers, teachers, administrators, and we just are creating a really isolating experience while young kids are trying to understand themselves.
Pulling books off of library shelves. Got a lot of teachers around the country, and I imagine particularly in the South, who are afraid to say the wrong thing and lose their jobs,
Well, and also while just trying to create affirming learning environments where kids can come to school and speak honestly about their own lived experiences. So for us as a family, identify as two-mom family, that our kids themselves will begin to struggle to just be able to talk authentically about what their household looks like. Be a moment a teacher isn't supported in.
And it's not something your kid should have to stop and think about. They should be able to just proudly say, yep, my two moms.
Yeah.
Was that part of the decision to move up here?
So we were a bit on an island in terms of family. We had gone there for work, and we invested ourselves deeply in supporting LGBTQ communities and understanding those population experiences in the South. But we knew we'd get this way eventually. My in-laws are in Vermont. It's the heat gets you a little bit after a while. It was not a decision we made lightly, because part of it is Birmingham. There are a lot of, and one thing I do think people sometimes lose track of, there are incredible activists and community organizers, and I think that's something really special about the South, because there is so much work to be done there.
So they are seeing pushback to this sort of conservative, fundamentalist, anti-trans stuff. There are people standing up.
I think the overall climate to be doing that work has only grown more hostile. Kind of the personal attacks that come along with it when you're trying to just disseminate good information, or accurate, scientifically supported information.
Alrighty, so welcome.
Hi.
You managed to time it perfectly. The drummers are just starting up.
I'm Talia, and I'm here just to show pride, connect with the community, stuff like that. Yeah.
When you say to show pride, tell me what you mean. What does that mean in your life?
Just show that I'm here. Obviously, I'm very queer. I wanted to be part of the group to show that there's a lot of queer people here in West Hartford, and that they'll support each other, support the community, help each other out when needed. So I just want to connect to people like me.
Do you feel that you have the connections you need, or are you looking for more?
I feel so. I'm out of school now, but when I was in school, I was in our school's GSA, and my school was very open and respectful about queer people. So I felt like I had that sense of community, but I wanted to kind of branch out to meet more people that I didn't know from school.
My name is Christopher Eddy.
Christopher, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell me what pride means to you.
Quite simply, pride to me means compassion, understanding, and acceptance for all beings. All beings. I'll keep it short. That's what it's about.
Thank you for having me. This is actually my first Pride, so I began my transition 2 years ago. I have not done anything like this ever. I guess just hormones, when it comes to starting it, it could be a lot longer than that. But I just wanted to come out today because I just didn't come out last year, so it's better than I thought it was going to go. Yeah, just baby steps, right? Just trying to do progress here. But for me, I live in the closet mostly, so I live with my parents, so to be out so close to where they live is definitely a new experience for me. I usually go to other cities to do this. But it's nice. I hope no one recognizes me because I do live close by. But
do you think there would come a time when your parents would be open to this issue and to being supportive?
No. I've tried with some of them. One of them, it didn't go well. The other one is much more religious. So, no, I don't think there's ever going to be a time where I can talk to them and they'll accept me for who I am.
How close are you, do you think, to being able to get out and be independent of your folks?
I have an engineering degree, 4 internships, so I have a good amount of experience in what I want to do. But I've been trying for 3 years now to get a job. And I think I'm over 50 interviews now, where every single time there's just some stupid reason why I don't get hired. So I have more than enough experience. I have more than enough know-how. So right now I live with my parents. I can't move out until I get a job, right? Housing is like $2,000 a month. You know, you include everything else, that's like $3,000, $4,000 a month. So I can't afford that, unfortunately, right now. And until I get a job, I can't go anywhere. So that's kind of like, this is my little win today. This is what I did to kind of like do something for myself. And yeah, it feels good because it's hard to do this alone.
Alrighty, I am Terry. And what does pride mean to me? Honestly, for me, it comes down to people. We are people. Everybody's people. We're just people. And at the end of the day, who you love, and we're actually all male and female.
Yeah.
So if one rises to the surface, over another.
Uh-oh.
Hey, baby girl. So at any rate, I just pride to me is, it's unfortunate that we have to highlight it. Yeah. Actually, I wish that we could all just be people at the end of the day and love each other, and I just don't know why we can't get along.
So you were prompting
Shanna.
You were
My daughter.
prompting your daughter
Yeah.
With different kinds of diversity, different kinds of ways to be proud of yourself. Tell me what that means to you.
Well, I think diversity includes all types of diversities, right? So I was born in Colombia. That makes me diverse. We're Jewish, which makes us diverse. We celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah in both religions because the other half of us is like my dad, my stepdad, my fiance is all Catholic, so we get all, that's diversity, right? I think diversity of thought is also important, you know, whether you agree or don't agree. You have to be able to be diverse and be accepting, and pride shouldn't be stifled by anybody, regardless of who or what you represent. Right, so I'm
whether
a pretty
we're talking
proud.
Judaism,
well, yeah, I'm a
or
pretty
we're talking
proud Colombian, Italian, Jewish, Republican, I mean, my ex-wife would say I'm a little bit too proud sometimes, but I mean, so I take pride in the fact that I'm a Republican, and we still can have these diverse thoughts and diverse ideals and just come together and be proud of ourselves, but also be respectful. I think that's the most important part, you know?
Me first? All
You
right.
first.
I'm Brandon. I was here because I came last year. This is my first year out as bisexual. Also, for my work, my job, Habitat for Humanity, we were marching in the parade today. So, yeah, it was great.
What do you do
cause.
for Habitat?
I'm the assistant manager of their restore. So I sell lightly used furniture, and that goes to the proceeds to building houses. So, yeah, my family in 2017 got a house.
Oh, great.
So I was 16 when we got the house, and I obviously volunteered there a lot. And eventually, when I turned 18, they asked if I wanted a job.
These pride events like this,
Yes.
are they important?
Yes.
Why?
For sure. There's so much community here.
Yeah.
It's so good. Not only because it spreads awareness, but everybody needs a place to feel safe, right? So, and this place is fantastic. I love it here. I love stuff like that.
Hello.
Tell me who you are, you in the fabulous hat.
I'm with Brandon. I'm Mars, his boyfriend. This is my first Pride Parade ever.
Really?
Yes.
So what did you think?
It was a lot. I haven't been in a parade in a while, so it was really cool to be in that energy again. I really like all the excitement that comes with parades, and everyone's very, very, very happy, except for like that person over there.
Except for that guy with the microphone. Yeah.
But besides that, everyone's been wonderful.
So this is your first Pride event. Would you say, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but Would you say that this is probably the best booth you've hit so far today? Because there are a lot of vendors, there are a lot of people here, but would you say this is the best so far?
I would say it's best. I do love marbles.
And we have marbles.
Big fan of marbles.
Okay.
He's a big fan of podcasts. It's the combination of the two. That's what did it for me.
Well, we're so glad
It
you...
was also the TARDIS earrings.
My name is Nick. I guess to explain why Pride is so important is I grew up in a very conservative, very Italian Catholic with a population, I want to say around like 76% falling into that bracket. When the Jersey Shore came into play, that is when I went to high school, so it was wild.
Yeah.
As an Italian, I was like, okay, I can't relate to this. In the town, it's so small that you grow up with people from kindergarten to 12th grade, so you know everybody's name, you know the grade below you, the grade above you, and it was not a good experience in the sense that there was no pride. There was no acknowledgement of people being queer, being gay, like having any... It was not enforced growing up Catholic. Getting confirmed, knowing, hey, I'm never going to get married in a church is a wild experience because it really does bestow a lot of hate within yourself.
Well, you're saying it now with a laugh in your heart.
Oh, yeah.
But that's painful stuff to sit there and know this doesn't apply to me.
I like to laugh to just cope, I guess.
Right,
I think
yeah.
humor is very healing. And I look back at the situation like I would not be the person I am today if I didn't unfortunately go through that. But I think it taught me of who I don't want to be. And I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to ever put out that to anybody the way that I was treated.
Yeah.
And as I've gotten older, like I continue to learn. There's so much to learn. And I think with Pride is it teaches people that like we didn't have any of that. So now them actually being able to see it, we're finding out that in that community, people are being more accepted. After I graduated, there was a child who got the ACLU got involved, and because he said during the day of speech, he decided to wear a shirt that would advocate for talking during that day. And the ACLU got involved. They didn't, it was his right to do so. But it really was powerful to see how many students went against it and spoke out against it, supported kids. Like there was somebody who wore a skirt to school and they were told to go home.
Oh.
And those kids got together. And it was most of the kids in the theater program that came together and made a difference and stood up for that kid. It's so important to see that happening, and it's heartwarming because my experience is anything but that, but to see just a few years later that it is changing in that kind of way, I can't imagine what it's like now. I hope it's a lot better.
Yeah.
This is Bonbon.
Hey, Bonbon. Bonbon's going exploring.
Yeah, he's going. Okay, my name is Faith Middleton, and
oh my goodness, it was so wonderful to meet you.
That's why I came over. Because we do what we do together.
I'm very close to tears right now.
No, thank you, and thank you for being here. So let me start this again.
Yeah.
The truth is, I don't really think about Pride very much. I think about being gay, and I think about. I have a transgender nephew, and. He is who I think about the most, but I don't think much about pride as an issue because it seems almost entitled to me. But in terms of being gay, which I am, and having gay kids in our family, I'm just, it means a lot to me.
I feel for, you said you have a transgender youth in your family.
Yeah.
It's been a rough year for trans kids.
Oh my God. Thank you for saying that because just within the past 24 hours, we have heard that one of our family members, who's homophobic clearly, has in print come after our trans kid, and when I hung up the phone, I was so angry that a family, especially my family, which is a fabulous family, that they would do this, that a kid in our family would do this.
So I'm Adis Halilovic. I'm a Bosnian immigrant, and let me tell you, the balance between being gay and being Muslim is very thin, and I remember times in my household where there would be gay representation on TV and there would be sounds of disgust from my family. Just things before I even knew I was gay, and that kind of forced me to suppress that part of myself for quite some time. Well, eventually I did come out when I was going to college, and it didn't go too well. My parents didn't really react too beautifully to it. I'm sure, though, my brothers knew well before I did that I was. So, they asked me to sing Hannah Montana in the car, so that tells you everything. But I studied art actually in college, and I created a piece that was representative of me being gay and Muslim and growing up in that community. And also growing up in Georgia and experiencing both homophobia, Islamophobia, xenophobia, all the back at me. So Pride definitely is the counter to that. It's going against all those negative feelings.
Now that you're out and more comfortable with yourself, is there any margin for a queer identity within Islam? Within, you know how the way some Christian religions are more tolerant and open and affirming, and others are very hard line. Nope, no way. Is there any of that?
So the uniqueness of it is for homosexuality, it's very taboo. It's very much man-woman with the opposite. In terms of trans rights in Islamic countries, it's actually a little more respected because it's going towards what God set you to be. So if you believe that you were actually, like you were born a man but you identify as a woman, they do believe in...
Then you're acting with God's will.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
but
great.
In terms of men with men and women with women, that is going fully against it. In terms of the religion. Now, I think, and especially with all sorts of other religions, like people are taking it back, and there's this like New Age Islam where everybody is now starting to like pick and choose and show like there's love and acceptance in part of it. I just presented at a Bosnian conference with some of my artwork, and I presented a piece that piece that I created of being gay and Muslim, and afterwards somebody came up to me and they were like, "You're the first person I ever heard really talk about it openly on a stage." And especially in the Bosnian community, it's not common. They actually just did their first Pride Parade. The coordinator of the entire conference, they talked to me, and they even mentioned like they were out. They're completely open with their non-binary identity and everything, but when they stood up on a stage in front of people of their own cultural community, of their own religion background, it sends a whole new shock of emotions and fear and anxiety that like you don't necessarily get when you're at a Pride Parade. And it's easy to, when everybody else is free, people who traditionally were told, hide your identity, hide part of you.
And that's really the best that some religions have to offer is you stay closeted and we won't bother you.
Yeah.
But step over that line, step out of that closet and expect persecution.
Oh,
and
it is awful in the sense that like with religion kind of teaches you certain kinds, especially back in the day from my experience, it tells you to lie to yourself.
Definitely.
And when you do that, as a young kid, you don't learn confidence. You don't learn like anything about your self-concept. You constantly like don't quite connect with yourself in a way that you don't grow because you're not being nurtured by your community. You're being an outcast. You're being someone that has to hide something that is a fundamental part of you.
Right.
And I think that's why Pride is so important because, people will make give it in a negative light of like, oh, they're getting attention kind of thing. It's like, it's important to have attention. Yeah. It's like, this identity is different in the sense that, we have the straight pride and stuff like that. It's like, it does unfortunately happen where you see this level of like, we're not celebrating that because it's like we know this needs awareness. This only consists of what 1% of the total population.
Yeah.
It's like we need to be supported and shown love because it's been years of not getting any of that.
I'm Amy.
Hey, Amy. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you too. Pride for me means being able to be your true, authentic self.
Do you feel that you get a chance to do that?
I get a chance to do that, but I have a relative that right now is undergoing transing, and it's been a difficult journey for them, and actually for all of us as the family. So just making everyone understand that everyone has a right to be who they want to be and embracing that.
My name is Deb Simon. I live here in Guilford, and I've been in Guilford 28 years, and I'm so pleased to see this. I am gay.
And you're
I'm lesbian. Yep, I'm family. Yeah.
So what does pride mean to you?
Oh, it just means being able to be out and free and seen. Yeah. You know, I came out in the 70s where you did not talk about being gay to anyone.
Where it was still illegal.
It was illegal. It was still, people were still being hospitalized and jailed. And I worked for a social work agency, and it was just around the time that they decided that being gay was not a mental illness. So until the 70s, we were considered mentally ill.
Right.
And now your community is going through the same thing. So to be able to talk about being a lesbian in a restaurant, to be out, I casually tell people without having to say, I need to tell you something. You know, I just talk about my life the way we couldn't.
That we're part of the community, and it's not a big deal.
Yes.
It's not something to be feared.
Exactly. So I am thrilled to see this, and I'm so amazed at what they did. This is huge. I was going to say, I got into a bit of a conversation with a protester who's going to be here later, and he said he was coming, and I said, we welcome you, but keep it peaceful.
Right.
And he thanked me for my integrity, and that I welcomed him. And I think that, you know, the more people I think that I've always felt it was important for people to come out, because I think that's what moved the needle, is that people started seeing that, oh, my cousin is gay, my kid is gay, everything, everybody. Yes, exactly. And now with trans people, the same thing has to happen. And it's happening slowly, and you're getting the backlash that we got when we first started coming out. And you're the new boogeyman.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we were during the Bush elections.
Right.
Gay people were.
Right.
And I'm Jewish. We have a saying, who's the new Jew? And now it's it's trans people.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Mazel tov.
Unlike everybody else I've talked to, you actually have a name tag on. Welcome, Jennifer.
Pride can mean so many things, and especially living in America, it can mean a lot of different things.
Sure, yeah.
And pride but I think if you mean like pride in your community and pride in who you are, it means having the space to be the person you're meant to be, and to not be afraid of being that person, and to have the love and support that you need to be that person.
So what you're saying is both internal and external, right?
Yes.
That you need to be able to feel comfortable in yourself, but you need the support of others.
I think it's very hard to have pride when you're always hiding who you really are.
I'm Charlie.
Hey, Charlie. Welcome.
I'm Arthur.
Oh, hey, Arthur.
Being yourself and not caring who cares.
Not taking people's shit.
The day of West Hartford's Pride started with torrential downpours. We all set up and just got soaking wet. There were periodic cloud bursts throughout the day. I was lucky enough to be located right next to the Connecticut Gay Men's Chorus. They were fantastic neighbors. We helped each other through the weather. We spent most of the day bantering back and forth. They were lovely people. And this is a conversation with AJ from the Connecticut Gay Men's Chorus. There were some tech difficulties, so I'm piecing this together.
So the Connecticut Gay Men's Chorus, no problem. The chorus has been around since 1986. We have been around for about 35 fabulous years, and we actually just finished our run of our recent spring production, Hard at Work. We put all the productions together ourselves. Our fantastic artistic director, Greg McMahon, goes through painstaking hours trying to find good choral arrangements of good music that will tell a story. So with this recent show, Hard at Work, his vision for this was that we go through this monotonous schedule, of course, and everyone has their different kinds of jobs, but there's a specific song in there, Blue Collar Man, that speaks to this thing of like, we do really identify ourselves by how we work, and we take pride in that. And in 2023, it's very much the same as like every time we as volunteers get up on stage and do performances, we're showing everyone how proud we are to be who we are and to do the work that we do. And it's good to remind everyone that you can take pride in everything. So we had some Tina Turner at the end, a great tribute. We actually had our first performance right before she passed away. We also did a 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton. That was great. Me and my friend Aaron had solos. Of course, Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi.
Shouldn't Bon Jovi be there already? I mean, it's been 30-something years.
Halfway there when he wrote it, and he's getting closer every day.
How can folks get in touch?
For the chorus, we actually have auditions coming up in late August. And you can always go to our website at ctgmc.org and look up information about that. We also have another Pride to perform at in New London, August 12th. We're going to be doing some of our songs from Hard at Work there.
So, my name is Sincere. I am a gay youth within the state. To me, pride to me means everyone just having equality, unity, being who you want to be, being able to be with who you want to be with without being judged. I feel like pride to me should make people feel in a safe, comfortable space where they know they can be themselves. They know that they don't have to worry about anything, because in a lot of places, us as a community are being disagreed upon, where a lot of people may not agree with who we want to be or who we choose to be or how we choose to live based on how they grew up or how their family is or something. But it also shows with everyone being a community like this, shows like at the same time we don't have to worry about what other people think about us. And even at that, we shouldn't even have to worry about that after we leave the event, because even with or without Pride Month, Pride is an everyday thing that I feel any community, not just our LGBTQ, but even us more, should always hold up on ourselves. So like us not wanting to have to look back every time we're walking through a town we've never been through, we should just...
Now, you identified yourself as youth. Are you still in school? Are you...
Right now, I'm not.
You're not?
I
okay.
graduated.
Were there times in school, were there incidents where you felt unsafe, where you felt judged, all the things that you were just talking about?
I wouldn't even say I felt unsafe. I mean, I really didn't care if anyone was judging me or not. I was still, since I was a kid, I think it took me until I was 12, maybe 15 years old to actually feel I can be who I want to be. Yeah. So that was where I felt like no matter where I go, I'm gonna dress how I want to dress. I'm gonna be with who I want to be with, and things like that. Like, I don't really focus on, okay, even if it's high school, I was never the type to ever get bullied for my sexuality, but even if I see somebody else getting bullied for it, I was the type to stand up for them, because I don't like stuff like that. I don't like seeing people get bullied. It should be a community, and it should be like we're all one community at the same time. We're all in the same town, city, state. So at the same time, we're all one community. So there shouldn't be just people who hate people for sexuality basis or for gender basis or anything. I feel if you're one community and you're in that one community, then that whole community should come together and be a safe space and a safe community for anyone to be who they want to be with.
My name is Jasmine. My name is Julia Nelson. Yeah, my name is Jasmine Nelson. I like supporting people that are different, because I see around the world how people treat other people really differently, and it's really mean to. It's really mean. Like, one of my friends got mad at this kid for his mom being gay and liking another woman, and he started screaming at him, and that kid left the bus crying. And I just feel like it's good to support them, even though if you're not gay or anything like that. It's good to even, support those type of people and stuff. And I don't think drag queens are weird or people dating girls are weird or anything like that. Yeah. So I just came here to support now, and Our mom is sitting out there working, so that's also why we came.
So that's it.
My name is Peter. I use he, him pronouns. This seems like the right venue to say that. And I'm here at Pride today. Really excited to be here. I came here the first time in 2019 when they did it, and I'm really just here for the community. I think I don't really get a whole sense of community throughout the year. So when Pride Month comes, I usually just jump at the chance to come see some people. Everyone's very friendly, everyone's welcoming, just feel the support and the love. So I've been out since 2014, 2015, so I've been out for a long, I'm trying to think how long that is. What is it, 2023? That's
8-9 years?
Yeah, almost half of my life I've been out.
Wow, congratulations.
I've actually just recently hit 6 years on testosterone. So I transitioned
the beard looks fabulous.
I got the beard. Everything that I've really wanted to get done, I've gotten done. I'm very fortunate to have that. Very fortunate to have a mom who supported me in my transition, just in spite of some other family not supporting me. I think that's a very common thing, but I don't complain. I think I really had a very, very fortunate transition with all that. And
well, how about workplace? Has the transition gone well in your workplace?
Yeah, I was a kid when I transitioned, so it didn't really make a difference. And then when I'm at a point now where people don't know I'm trans unless I tell them. So I had no problem really with employment. I had a very decent experience with school. I had lots of teachers who were supportive.
Great.
I was able to do what I had to get done. It was a little bit hiccupy at first. I was the first trans person in my school, as far as I was aware. They had a meeting. They sat down to figure out, what do we do about this one student? How do we address them? It was a little bumpy at first to get the name changing part of it on board, but for the most part, I had nothing but support and accommodation. I think it's something that I'm very thankful for, and I'm scared for the kids who don't have that. Because I know for me, it changed my life. I think I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for that support. And really just hope all the people out there who are going through a transition in that period of their life, going into middle school, going into high school, I hope they know that whether you have the support or not, it'll be there eventually if it's not there early on. And I'm so sorry not everyone can have that experience in their schooling. Before I was able to go on hormones or have surgeries, it was really important that you talk to people about it. And I think that people have a weird impression that children transitioning means that they go through all these permanent changes right away. At least for me, it wasn't that. It was several years of talking to people and living how I felt, and before I did anything permanent. So I think a lot of these prides are so important for giving people the opportunity to see that you can experiment and you can mix around with how you feel, and there are people who will support you on that, whether you decide to go through anything or not.
And you can hear other people's lived experiences, right? You can come to an event like this, talk with other trans men, and say, okay, well, what about this? And did this happen to you? And do you feel that way? And
it's a safe place to do it. And people are very friendly. If you have had an experience with religion that was bad, there's churches here that are friendly. If you had an experience with medicine that was bad, there's doctors here that are friendly. There's banks. There's all these places that, even if it's just to promote themselves, they're here, and they're here for you. So I think that whether you know people coming into this or not, just coming here and seeing that everywhere you look, every direction, there's rainbows, there's flags, there's colors, there's people who are here to see you do well and make you smile for the day. It's a really great message to show to people, and it's not something that's perverse or sexual or scary. There's kids coming around here.
Yeah.
They're having a fun time. There's adults. There's dogs. It's just a place that you can feel that community, whether you are an ally, whether you're trans, whether you're gay or anything else on the rainbow. You can come here and just see that people are loving each other and looking to have a good day.
And supporting each other.
Supporting each other, yeah. And I think it's so necessary right now with the climate of the world and of the world of LGBT rights. And I think we're all very blessed to be in Connecticut and have this support and see that people care.
Yeah. Tell me who you are.
Mary O'Neill. So pride to me means acceptance of all people, no matter what. Pretty much it, right?
Yeah, that covers it. Yeah,
yeah, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That
everyone has the right to be who they are. Period.
Shannon.
Hey, Shannon, move the mic a little bit closer to your mouth.
It's like a further way to express yourself without being judged.
Ah.
Like, everyone just comes together in this like big
Group?
Yeah, like just they come together.
Community?
Yeah, community. And like this community just shares. You want to share deep inside, but don't feel like you can. In this community, you have inside you the guts to say something, but they just don't come into your mouth. And you have this like community behind you just to say, hey, this is what you mean, or he means, or whoever. You get to like express yourself in a way that's not being judged.
What part of you do you want to come out and say, this is who I am? Is it because you're taller than your mom? Is it because you're Colombian?
Are you really taller than
She
your mom?
is. It's ridiculous. Is it because you're Colombian? Is it because you're Jewish? Is
So-
it because you're a good student?
So it's a lot of reasons. You could really be whoever you want. Pride is just a way to basically like escape from the real world, being whoever you want to be.
My name is Gemma,
Hey, Gemma.
and for me, Pride is my grandkid who just came out this year at 13, and we're celebrating the emergence, and we're learning pronouns.
There you go.
When you talked at the church a couple weeks ago, it was very nice to be able to have you share your journey, and it really helped my husband and I so much to be able to have hope and faith, and we're celebrating and we're learning and we're good.
My name's Madison. Nice to meet you. I'm from Bristol. I work at Walmart representing Pride here, and I am openly bisexual. I grew up because I'm high-functioning autistic, so it affected my my social skills and whatnot. And then even as a kid, I knew I felt other things that other kids probably wouldn't understand. I was often very guarded. Growing up, I eventually started eating my feelings, went through depression, and I was overweight for most of my adult life. And
sorry to jump in,
Yeah.
but do you see that as related to the stress of keeping things in like that?
I don't know if it's directly related, but I do think there is a correlation.
Okay.
Because one day, a family member of mine went through gastric bypass surgery, and I was thinking to myself, this is not going to be my future. So I went to the gym, focused only on cardio, limited my calories, lost 80 pounds in a year. And I think it's in some way tied to me coming out, because I came out like in the middle of my transformation, if you will. I would see like the literal weight being lifted off symbolize the weight of how I felt being lifted off my shoulders. Because there was like no like one magical moment where I came out. I was just talking to coworkers in the break room, and they were talking about like it's okay to be attracted to whoever you want. And I'm like, yep, nothing wrong with that. And I worked up the courage. Took me 30 seconds, and I said, I'm bisexual.
And how was the response? Were they supportive?
And they were very supportive. They said, you know what? That's perfectly fine. I know plenty of people who are. Nothing wrong with the way you're feeling. And I started telling like all of my coworkers this, my friends as well. And I also talked with like a friend of mine about it. And we got into specifics, and I'm also openly attracted to trans women. And my logic is there's nothing wrong with being trans, therefore nothing wrong with finding them attractive.
There you go.
And that was it. I've told just about everybody I know this, and the reactions for the most part were good. I don't remember a single negative reaction. And after I came out, I was absolutely fearless. Absolutely fearless. And I wish everybody could experience what I did.
So now with the changes you've made, body and soul, you've been transformed.
Absolutely.
Everything's more aligned.
Yeah. Well, I guess in a way it is a transformation. It was my inner self coming out. Like I'm shedding my skin, essentially.
My name is Kelly. What pride means to me is community and acceptance, being able to be yourself and not be afraid of judgment.
Yeah.
And love.
Have you been in situations where you felt judged, where you felt othered?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has come from the outside, but I also think that I've taken that judgment from society and then I've put it on myself as well. So it's come from myself and from the outside.
Right.
And I think the first way to learn to accept and love yourself is to start doing that from within and not expecting it on the outside, not expecting people to accept you on the outside, doing it from within first. Yep, it's like a reflection.
I guess, like, adding on to what I was saying before, it's more than just saying, oh, hey, I like my own gender. Like, it's kind of just like you had to feel it inside of you. Like, if I were to say, oh, hey, I like girls.
Yeah.
I can't just say that and not mean it. I need to, like, actually mean it.
So there has to be
There has to be some
truth
sort of
to it.
meaning inside of you.
Got it.
Well, hello.
Hi.
I'm 10.
Hi,
and
10.
I am trans M to F. Why don't I start from my beginning?
Please.
My beginning. I was born and raised in Jamaica for the first 12 years of my life. And, I mean, it's on the television sometimes, right? Back in, it's early 2000s at this point. And there are movies, and sometimes they feature transgender individuals or like cross-dressers. And the stereotypical image isn't great, right?
Right.
You see it on television and it's like they're flamboyant or outspoken. I guess the one positive takeaway was that like they're doing their own thing and they're proud of it, but also the way they were portrayed is like in a mocking way.
Like they're a joke, right? Like the joke is
Yeah.
that there's a man in a dress.
Yeah, and initially, especially when I was a kid, I look at it and I was like, I don't understand that it's a joke, that it's mocking, and I just assume that's how it is. And internally, I think, well, that's not what I want for myself.
Right.
But even with that being said, as an early kid, I always thought women's fashion was like particularly striking. And I mean, I think that's something any child can get behind. I mean, they're colorful, they're interesting outfits, but you know, you see it on television and you're like, okay, we're steering away. And also, like you bring it up to your friend group and they're all mocking it, so you're like, okay, that's not me. And I would say middle school, I wasn't really thinking about it. It was very late high school. Or actually, I think I had graduated at the time. Like prom year, I entertained the thought, and I was like, because I had recently gotten through a breakup, and I bought my prom ticket before the breakup, because I bought it. They convinced me to do it, even though I was like, I probably want to enjoy it, and they convinced me. So like, at least I'll be there, so just do it. And then they broke up with me. And I still have
before.
That was almost a week or two before prom actually happened.
To my friend too.
Oh, that's brutal.
So now I was like, okay, do I still go? and I thought, you know what? I'm going to prom in a dress or I'm not going at all. And then I didn't have a dress, so I didn't go.
Oh my God.
Oh, no.
So I didn't go. And that was $100 in the drain.
Oh, man. Is there, in terms of support in Jamaica, is there a vocal queer community? I mean, I suppose you said you were there till 12.
Any community.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Okay.
I've never even heard the thought entertained.
Yeah.
So after I graduated for a bit, I was scrolling through Wish. I had Wish on my phone, and I was scrolling through, and I saw a skirt, and I was like, it's a $3 skirt. I still have that skirt.
Can't go wrong with a $3 skirt.
And like that skirt is like kind of really sturdy.
This skirt was the gateway drug.
Yeah. It's a skort actually, and I hate the word skort.
Okay.
It's a dirty sounding word, but that's what it is.
It's the best piece of clothing, though. You know.
It is. But the word is disgusting. So I tried the skirt on after getting it, and then I looked in the mirror and I was like, wow, this is right. And then all of a sudden, the past years of my life suddenly come into this new perspective of like, wait, this is me. This definitely doesn't feel like a cross-dressing thing. This is like, I like this.
This is me. This is
all
not...
of a sudden it just like made sense.
Yeah.
It just clicked like that, which is it's such a strange thing because I didn't come to any realization or something. I didn't have any rational thought. It was just like, this is right, so I'm just going to do this.
Honestly, that was the same for me. It was like finding out I was trans was less dysphoria and more joy, as in, oh, like, I don't care what the label is necessarily right now. I just know in my heart it feels better when I'm wearing a suit, when I'm perceived as more masculine, and when I'm called by he, him pronouns. So, yeah, like,
that's awesome.
That's what makes me feel good.
Would you say that clothing was that much of a motivator for you, or was it something more?
Honestly, I think the first little big-ish piece of finding out I was trans was like hearing a story about like how boys, they went, like this pair of boys went to Halloween to their school. They were dressed as girls, and I was like, oh, I'll just do the opposite. That's great. And then I did that, and I was like, wow, what if I just keep doing this? For me personally, I love women's fashion. I think that's the greatest travesty in transitioning from female to
And I am
male.
the opposite.
Is that like
I hate
you
men's
don't
fashion.
I know I don't like men's fashion. That's the problem. Okay, I like it, but like skirts are just objectively better. Dresses, they're flowy, they're nice. You guys got like the nice like scarves that you can like fashion into a million different things.
I don't walk into 3 different stores and see the same shirts.
That being said, women's shirts are so thin. You cannot find a normal fucking shirt in a woman's section. But it doesn't matter. And so for me, the clothing part was like, it really, really surprised my mom. So it did surprise my mom when I came out as trans, because she was like, oh, but you were always so girly and feminine. I was like, yeah, see, that's the thing, right? I'm like a guy, but I really like feminine clothes. I like colorful colors. I honestly think it's kind of dumb that colors and flowy clothes are considered feminine. But that's how that played in my transition. It was me being like, I like this stuff, but despite all of that, I'm still a guy. And, you know I know there's an option. I could be a lesbian, maybe. No. And what was really funny is that I got a therapist, and my parents came to therapy session. My mom was just like, oh, yeah, but, you know, Castor always liked, like, girly clothes and stuff. And the therapist was really like, there's cis gay men. Well, that's because he's gay. Like, there's cis gay men that dress out in drag. And that was so validating to me.
I'm Mikey. My pronouns are he, they.
Hi, Mikey.
I'm Elijah.
Hey, Elijah.
Oh, and my pronouns are he, him.
To me, pride means just like having the confidence in yourself and knowing who you are and not, like not taking any bullshit from people and just letting yourself be who you want to be who you are, no matter where you are, who you're with, just like totally being yourself without any conditions.
No, honestly, yeah, the same. Like, being able to just express yourself, like just period.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa.
Hello.
I'm Aster. Oh, there's more things to me than just my name. Yeah.
We could stop there if that would. Yeah,
that's nice. Okay.
Good talking to you. Bye bye.
I am. It's funny because I've only had an epiphany like yesterday, 2 days ago.
Oh my goodness!
I have identified as non-binary for like 3 years and change now. The other day I had a moment just thinking about stuff.
Tell me about those 3 years as non-binary.
It's really just about thinking about myself as just a person. And one of the main things that I thought about when I originally came out was thinking back to like being a kid and thinking about like how little I thought about gender or like wanting to manly, and it was just confusing for a while because I never really felt like I wasn't in the right body. But when I think about it, I recall like the kind of apathy about it,
Mm-hmm.
Just like it doesn't, the gender doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It's fine. I'm fine being a person, and I still stand by that. But I've been thinking lately about just all the moments like past childhood where like I was like, you know what, girl though. Like I remember the first year of pandemic, I was stuck inside working from home. So I was able to like experiment with like clothing and stuff like that. And it's really, I was remembering just like getting all these nice clothes in, trying them on, like really liking the way I looked. And then I guess mentally I was just kind of like, yeah, but it's so much effort. It's too much, you know. And I started estrogen later that year, but I've never really come back to it because it's just kind of like I love all the changes it's done for me. Like it feels good to like to see myself as like more woman. So.
Well, that's, you're finding and inhabiting your real self. It shouldn't have to be a full-time job.
Yeah, for real. I never figured the change that it makes just mentally. Like, instead of looking in the mirror and being like, I'm not what I want to be, it just changing to be like, I am this, and that's what I look like anyway, it makes a world of difference.
My name is Monse. I support love is love, and anyone can love whoever they want because you can't choose for people. But I just seen some some people online, trans people, trans women saying some things that for me I just don't feel really comfortable with.
Tell me about that. What have you heard?
The word cisgender, I know it means that you are like biologically a woman and you still identify as a woman.
Okay.
But it's just that there's a lot of women who don't want to be referred as that. So they just want to be called woman and
And leave the trans and the cis off to the side.
Well, obviously trans, we know you guys are trans women.
Okay.
We just want to be called woman and not cis. I mean, some women are okay with that, but not every woman. And I just feel like some trans people are forcing the term on us and they want us to go by it. Because if we don't go by it, they call us transphobic.
I'm River.
Hey, River.
I use he, they pronouns, and pride means being proud of who you are.
I'm Kaylin, and I think pride means to be accepted.
Hi, I'm Scout. My pronouns are she, her, and they, them. And pride to me means finding a community that'll support you no matter what and no matter who you are. And it's definitely been the best thing ever about coming out.
Scout, were you named for
my mother picked my name out when she was a freshman in high school and knew it.
I'm Julia. I use she, her pronouns. And pride is an opportunity for people that have experienced a lot of suffering and oppression to come together in joy and take joy in the thing that people try to make them feel bad about. So it's an opportunity for celebration. My name is Ella Beasley. I use she, her pronouns, and pride to me means the ability to feel comfortable with myself no matter what.
My name is Emily, and I have a trans son. Came out about a year and a half ago. I've always been an ally. My sister is gay, and I've had many gay friends, so that was always part of just accepting people. When he came out, it was definitely a shock. When he said he had something to say, I thought he was going to just say he was gay. We've always been very open, though, so they've known that my husband and I are very accepting of people. And just that, I think pride for us just means that we can love whoever you love. It doesn't matter what you look like or what you have. I had two friends that are transgender, so I'd gone to a couple events just to learn a little bit more so that I could understand it, because I'm fortunate enough to be comfortable in my body, and I wanted to know what it was like for them to not be comfortable in theirs. That was my thing for him. I figured I would much rather have him here with me in any way and not at all.
So my name's Crystal.
Hey, Crystal.
I am a mom to an autistic trans son. And I actually went back to school so that I can be a resource for trans kids. I'm in psychology, so I'm very big about making sure everyone has resources to feel safe.
How did those two things intersect for you and for your child, the autism and the transness?
So when my son came out to me trying to find resources because he wanted to start testosterone and stuff, so finding a therapist that would work with him for that and is qualified to work with him for that was very difficult in our area. And as well as him being autistic, knowing how to work with him in that aspect, it was like, you know what, this is what I need to do. Yeah, and I want to be one of those resources for anyone who needs it to feel safe and be able to talk to people.
Is there someplace people can reach out to you?
I'm actually on Facebook. I'm a part of the Stand-in Pride for the area, for the Northeast. So I'm around.
And what do your shirts say?
The queers are here!
Woo! Thank goodness the queers are here.
Okay. Well, I'm Spencer.
Hey, Spencer.
My pronouns are they, them, or he, him. Pride just means accepting people for who they are, accepting myself for who I am, and not fearing anything about existing freely as myself.
So it's two parts, you're saying, because if you're going to ask other people to accept you as you are, you kind of have to be on that firm footing, right?
Yeah.
To be able to say, this is me.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm Sarah. I use any pronouns. And to me, I think pride is just being safe and being comfortable being who you are and accepting the people around you.
People don't listen when they're being yelled at.
I spent 33 years in the classroom. If they're all yelling, nobody's learning anything.
Yeah. So you were a teacher?
I was a Latin teacher for 33 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Can you see the lines that are just etched into my face?
I'm Krista Douillard, and I am an ally. And pride means community to me, the best community, because you will never find a more accepting group of people. And I do a lot of pride events with my friend Rebecca.
Over at Prism Counseling.
Over at Prism.
Yeah.
Drop every summer with her. And I just have to say that I get the best hugs here. I get the best smiles. I get the best stickers for my car.
And as an ally, you feel welcomed. You feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the best thing too is I get the best education, because I don't always know the right terms or the right flags or the right whatever. And
so Pride becomes a place where you can feel like you're in a safe space to ask, to have a conversation with somebody.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And I highly recommend it.
Hi everybody, my name is Alexia Crane, N.A. So today I'm volunteering, say for where, because I don't want to be a representative of my company during this interview.
Okay.
But I am volunteering today at a table.
We will just, during our conversation, we'll just refer to it as the Mystery Company.
The Mystery Company.
So you...
yeah.
It's important in podcasting to have an element of mystery. You want that.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, Pride events matter so much. What's amazing is that there's people behind me that are yelling and preaching.
Yeah.
Because it's so sad that even though we're all here and we're all special and individual, we still have to deal with ignorance. And so the hope, I guess, is that if we keep doing events like this and educating people, that they'll come and they'll learn and they'll see that we all are the same. We're all the same. We're all the same on the inside and the outside. There's no difference.
Right.
And I mean, you could talk about race, you could talk about religion, you could talk about so many different levels of who we are. And it really doesn't matter. And I mean, if you look at the world, and if you are into history, and you go back thousands of years, hundreds of years, there's always been fighting. Why? It hasn't gotten us anywhere. Just more fighting. Can you imagine what life would be like if we stopped fighting? If we stopped fighting ourselves, if we stopped fighting in wars, if we stopped fighting, what our people, the whole entire world could accomplish. Our energy is misplaced and misdirected right now in the world that we live in. And I can prove that to you. It's evidenced by, look what just happened with our pandemic. The whole world stopped. The whole world, I mean, think about that. The whole world stopped. our lives were changed and shaken to the core. We couldn't leave our houses, and we didn't have time to fight with people. But what we did do is we came up with a way to help ourselves. I mean, and I don't know if you're for or against vaccines. That's really not the point.
Right.
If you're for or against them. The fact is that it happened.
Right.
All that combined energy from around the world to solve that one problem. Can you imagine if instead of fighting around the whole entire world and wars and what our world, what the earth could actually be like?
What you could do for the education system, for the homeless, for food insecurity. If we could direct the energy into these things that actually matter.
I mean, I know it's a question about pride today, but wow, I hope we just keep moving forward.
I'm Sabrina.
I'm Julian. And I'm Judy.
I've been out since I was 14 as pansexual.
Tell me about, for any listeners who might need more information on that, what does pansexual mean for you?
So pansexual for me means like falling in love with whoever I fall in love with, not whatever's in their pants, like whoever they represent as. You know, I love the person for truly who they are. You know, I've been with him for over a year now. So yeah.
What do you see as the difference between pan and bi?
So for me, I feel like bi is a little more constricting, because I feel like it means like two,
Right.
you know, more. So I feel like bi is like you're attracted to two genders, you know, and pan is more like the Latin word for all, so kind of like encapsulating more people that really don't fit into the gender norm.
Let's wait a minute. Let's wait till the dog fight moves on down the road here. All right. See, cats don't give you this problem.
Exactly.
You don't have cats barking and disrupting things.
Or lizards. I have a bearded dragon.
I want a rat really bad. I'm Theo. I use he, him pronouns.
Okay.
I'm Mike. I use he, they pronouns.
For me, it's like a place to connect and find like-minded people, and just a place for me to kind of mostly escape like homophobia and the expectations to like conform and be in a box and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. A place where when you say, these are my pronouns, people understand the context
Yeah.
and why you're saying that.
Like I can trust that someone won't like spit on me, you know?
Which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
I like to be in spaces where I will not be spat upon.
Exactly.
That makes me comfortable.
For Pride, it's like just like a place to be comfortable and to enjoy other people or even support gay businesses and everything, because you can't like exactly do that with knowing very easily when you're just walking across the street and stuff. So this has many vendors that are gay or trans or like under that umbrella, and it's nice to see people who are like you too, rather than always being in straight like places. It's a safe queer place.
It's also really important to me to see all like the religious organizations coming here to support.
There are so many
I've
here
had
today.
a lot of like bad experiences with like religion and my sexuality and my gender, and like my identity in general. And so seeing all those people like come to support is really important to me.
Yeah, they even were giving out yarmulkes. Yeah, I got one for my grandpa.
I've noticed that as well. When I took a loop through, there were 5 or 6 faith-based booths here, and it was wonderful to see it. Yeah, it makes you feel a little less alone. Yeah.
As though that's not all hate and stuff.
Right. That we won't be spat upon.
Unlike the guy over there yelling about it.
Yeah.
We have the wonderful people here.
My name is Ginny. We just have an audience. They like to watch. No, they're fully... Well, we're queer. We're queer and we're here. We're queer and we're here, and we live in West Hartford. We live in the area, and some of us are budding psychologists who are passionate also about working with queer folks. And so we just love coming to Pride. I should clarify that we're psychologists in training. We're not psychologists yet. I said budding. Oh, good. Yeah. But budding. Like a flower.
Oh, that's great. I've been having some issues. Could I talk to you about them today?
No. That would be ethically icky.
And that's a technical term, icky.
Yes. Ethically icky. The APA actually recently released a whole thing about doing icky things. Yeah.
How important is it for mental health care providers to be well-informed, well-trained on transgender issues?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big question, right?
Because it's dangerous if there's a lack of understanding or if they're not affirming, and it can get people away from mental health treatment, and then they don't have one bad experience could turn people away from seeking mental health care.
Right.
And identity development is such a huge part of like our mental well-being, and having like a secure understanding of who we are, and also like the social pressures that we have to face being queer people. Like sometimes we need someone to talk about that, and to talk about it without having to say, so you probably don't understand, but like when you go outside and you do this, it's just like, it just makes things easier.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important.
Right. And not to mention, right, like in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't all that long ago that like homosexuality was considered a mental illness, right? So it's important that although we've like come some way from that, looking at the grand scheme, like it really hasn't been all that long, and there's obviously still a lot of providers out there that are not understanding, especially in states maybe where there is more like legislation being passed against queer and trans folks. And so it's really important that those safe spaces exist, and also that psychologists especially act as gatekeepers a lot of times for gender affirming care.
Yep.
And so I think being involved in that, like as involved in that as we can, I think that we're doing a really important duty, I guess, in being an open gate, I think, for that.
So recognizing the privilege we have that we're being educated in Connecticut, in a state where we wouldn't have to be put in a position that we could potentially like lose our license. I don't even know sometimes what's going on with providers in other states, and the hoops that they have to jump through in order to be able to provide that affirming care.
This is Sadie McCarthy. I'm Claire's niece. Transqat is a production of Transqat Enterprises, LLC. Copyright 2022, all rights reserved. Join us on the web at transqat.com. That's TRANSQAT.com. There, you'll find links to Transqat, the blog, writing projects, speaking engagements, and more. You can also meet the team who thought spelling cat with a Q was a good idea. Follow Transqat on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Leave us a comment on whatever platform you use to stream this podcast. Just remember to be kind. She has enough self-esteem problems already. To reach Claire with a question or a suggestion for an upcoming episode, just use the contact page at the website or email her directly at crmtranscat@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.